You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Posture Screen, Imaging Services, Zinget Solutions, Chiro Moguls, 5-Star Management, Chiro Health USA, Local Gold, Rhino Coaching, Mahalo Wellness, Chiro Thin, Peter Goldman Zone School of Healing, Go Get Talks, Fit to Lift, The Goodman Factor, Unmarket Your Practice, and McCaffrey Clinical Mentoring. Let's hustle.
Hey everybody, Jim Chester coming to you live today. I am in the Mile High City. This is coming from Denver, Colorado today. And I have Dr. Ashley Oschner coming in from Chicagoland. This guy is going to help you blow the roof off of your practice in 2020. Don't make a mistake and step away from this live without taking the opportunity to click that link up there in the description of this Facebook Live. It says, Go Get Talks, click here. I'm also going to roll it across the bottom of the screen right now. So it says, for more talks, go here, and it's www.gogettalks.com. So Ashley, welcome to the show, man. Thank you for supporting us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Jim. It's my pleasure.
So you do something unique and you help people do marketing better. And I think that that's something that every chiropractor that ever talks to me, they are interested in. They want to say, well, I know how to use these, which are my hands. I know how to do an assessment, which is their clinical studies. And I know how to do some basic things like talking to people. But you take it to the next level and you teach these chiropractors that might not have the ability to go out to their community, and you basically put them through the steps of how do I become an effective communicator and go out to my community and bring people in as what? New patients. Right. So let's talk a little bit about your system and kind of how it's working for you. I know you said that you had some great results here around November, but let's talk a little bit about why other people might want those same results.
Yeah, we use talks as a very key component to our marketing. It's not the only thing we do. And I say we, I mean at my own offices and my partner's offices. So we're in the trenches. We're actually in practice. So it's not like we've created something and we just peddle it away as a good idea and a marketing, product to the profession. This is actually the system and resources that we use. So so why would someone want to do this? Well, number one, there's a few types of chiros out there. So ones who have never done a talk, but would never want to do a talk, right? So we're not talking to them. But once they understand that it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be Tony Robbins and you can do an effective talk, then we catch their ear. Secondly, would be chiropractors who are great at speaking. Like they can get in front of anybody and speak, but the problem is they don't know how to get in front of people to create the opportunities to actually do a talk. And then third, you got kind of a morph there where they know how to set up talks, or they're really good at marketing, let's say, but they just can't speak. So we try to, at our trainings and with our system, our end game is book talks, rock talks, close talks. And it's kind of it is a one-stop shop in that field. Because what we found in our space is you have to go here to get this, you got to go there to get that, you got to come here to get this. And that was frustrating for us. So we just got all trained up, built our own system, and that's what we do. So that's kind of the idea behind it. And I would just encourage people to look at their 2020. When we talk marketing, talks are, in my opinion, number one, they're not going anywhere. All right. Who knows if Facebook will change their algorithm tomorrow? Who knows if Google ads will go up in price? Like all that stuff is questionable. The one thing that's not questionable is that there will be already gathered groups of people in clubs, businesses, and organizations that you can go speak to and build a bridge to chiropractic. That's kind of the idea.
Yeah, as I listen to what you're saying, there is a lot of times people want to do something for marketing, and they're like, well, I should probably go do a lunch and learn. That'd probably be cool. Or I should probably go do a dinner with the doc, and that would probably be cool. But they usually find some inflated system that they tried to implement and they don't know how to use it. But something that you guys do that's really cool is you bring people out for a seminar in Chicagoland or O'Hare Airport, and you teach people step by step how to actually nail these things down, how to deliver the goods, and how to actually make a position for themselves to say, hey, why don't you guys come in as new patients and we can change your life too.
Right. That's exactly what we do, and we do it in a way that's hands-on. You leave the training with targets for your community of groups, businesses, and organizations to reach out to on Monday. You have the skills when you leave, and then if you want all of the resources when you leave that we provide, you can have those too, but they're not required. They're definitely helpful and make life a lot easier to manage this type of a thing. But the training is all you need. It's 2 days. On day one is purely about booking talks. How do we get leads? How do we close that lead into a talk? And then day two is all about delivering, right? How do I speak and not only do great, but get new patients to schedule? That's the big idea, right? At the end of the day, who wants to put a bunch of money into this? Like, there's very few people that just want to be a professional speaker in their town. It doesn't pay as well, that's for sure, as a bunch of new patients that you generate from something like this. So yeah, we're going to set you up credibly. You're going to be super professional. You're going to have a great public perception of what you're going to deliver. But at the end of the day, it's about new patients and it's about closing, and that's where it's at.
Yeah, and as you say those things, also, it's about getting in front of those people and getting them to step through and to come into your office. How have you seen that, like, being effective for growth of other offices that have worked with you?
Yeah, we've had a couple that come to mind. One, so Seth came to our training. He did not continue as a member and a client with our resources. He's a pretty dynamic guy already. But he walked out from our training, and he set up a talk with a school system at like a teacher wellness institute day kind of a thing. And if memory serves me correct, I know it was in the 20s, but he closed 20 plus new ones at one talk, just from a $897 investment and some time. 20 plus new ones. And listen, as well as I do, you're in this game, Jim. There's a difference between a new patient that you've had an interaction with and a relationship with, whether that was one to many in a talk or even at a screening or event where you can create a connection, versus somebody who just walks in cold off the street, saw your Facebook offer. There's a lot more work to connect and close those colder leads versus you just rock the world with a talk and you've got a prime ready patient in there on your terms. So it's pretty lucrative. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the people that are watching, they realize that you're impassioned about service. You're impassioned about knowledge. You're impassioned about helping them with their health concerns. And when I go out there to community, I say a couple of things that really set in with people. Most people just don't know where to go or who to trust. So when you go out there and you do the talk and you create that dynamic response, now people, like you said, they're going to come in on fire for what you have to offer to them. And they're going to say, yes, I trust you. I already like you. I already know you. So it's a lot warmer as an interaction than somebody that's coming in from like a Google search that just wants you to get them a crack, or somebody that finds you from a Facebook ad that doesn't know what they actually bought. So right. You're actually making a humanistic connection with these people, which I think goes a long way. And, the strategy to get into these businesses, like you said, you teach that within your 2-day weekend out there in Chicago. Let's talk about the date and why you chose that location.
Yeah. So, real quick, I wanted to clarify because he said the strategy. You can totally do this wrong too. You can set up talk in a bad way, hard close, turn everybody off, and ruin the perception of chiropractic, quite honestly, in your community. So we want to stress the point that we're into building a relationship with our community and being a resource for those businesses, clubs, groups, and organizations. So just wanted to mention that's key, and that's the central focus of our training. But yes, our trainings that we do now, we do them in a very we try to make it as convenient and easy as possible, because you also are allowed to bring team with you. So you can bring your marketing CA or whoever it is that kind of manages this, or if your spouse is in charge of it, or an associate. So everybody gets to come. I know that owning 2 practices and doing this 20 years, seminars and hotels and flights and rental cars and all this stuff adds up. So what we did is we said, hey, what if we set it up right by O'Hare? You can fly in on a Friday morning, catch the shuttle. Like, there's a shuttle service that goes right to the hotel. It's included. It's free. It's a 10-minute drive or less. Hit the seminar 1:00 Friday, done by 5. Have a nice dinner, do your homework, come back in the morning. We go 9 to 5 Saturday, and then you head back to the airport and you're gone. So a one-night stay, no rental car needed, super convenient. That's why we chose that area, and it's been working great. Everybody who comes loves that fact, and there's so many restaurants and good places to go right by there. It's amazing.
And that's coming from being in the position of the prospect. Like, you've probably gone to seminars before where you're like, dude, why is this in the middle of nowhere? Why is it 45 minutes from like all the action? Why is there not one good restaurant to eat at? And damn, that was a $45 Uber ride to the middle of nowhere. And now I get to pay for a hotel room for everybody for 2 nights. And now I get to pay another $45 Uber ride back to the airport, which is now a 6 a.m. flight.
Exactly. I've been there. That's truly this whole business. Go Get Talks. It's because I've been there. We've been there. We've done it. So you're getting our experience on that end of things. And some of you may not know, like, our results. So between our 2 clinic, or our 2 docs, myself and Dr. Kehoe and my other clinic, we did. I looked at the calendar, double-digit talks in November. All from different sources, different types. And I tell you, there is nothing like the feeling too. So here's one for chiropractors, right? We want to talk about our, for whatever reason, some of us still have that less than, I'm a second-class citizen thing in our DNA here and there. When you show up and they're excited you're there, and they see how credible you are and professional you are, and you do a great talk and lead a great program for them, the feeling and the increase in your self-confidence that occurs is through the roof. That's the other advantage to this, is this builds momentum for you, the chiropractor, in your confidence and what you do. So can't stress that enough. Love doing this. It's an incredible journey.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Posture Screen, Imaging Services, Zinget Solutions, Chiro Moguls, 5-Star Management, Chiro Health USA, Local Gold, Rhino Coaching, Mahalo Wellness, Chiro Thin, Peter Goldman Zone School of Healing, Go Get Talks, Fit to Lift, The Goodman Factor, Unmarket Your Practice, and McCaffrey Clinical Mentoring. Let's hustle.
Plus, like you said, you're not going out there and burning the ships for all the other chiropractors in the 7-mile radius of that talk. Like, a lot of chiropractors, you probably had to go clean up some of these messes before and reintroduce reputation into the marketplace, because you've seen somebody go out there and basically burn the ships down and say, okay, I didn't get anything out of this and you guys suck and I'm out. And sorry that you guys even interacted with the chiropractor. So now you have to go back out there and do some reputation repair and really show the community that not all chiropractors are created the same same way with their attitudinal approach. And they have a lot more leverage when you actually meet somebody that wants to go out there and build a relationship and nurture the community and actually be a servant, and not somebody that's like so bottom line driven that they go out there and, like I said, ruin the opportunity for other people that want to go out there and actually help communities.
Yep. And the good news is you can repair it, even if it's been broken. It's repairable. We've done it at the largest community college here in the state of Illinois. We repaired it, did multiple talks there, did it at one of the biggest high school districts. They didn't even let any outside speakers in, period. Whatever your profession, they banned all outside speakers. We got in there. So you can do it. And the key is like, you've got to be interested in them. What do they need? What do they want? What are their goals for their wellness program and their people? You go there for them, and then the rest is handled. You just, and that's our whole program is we show up based on their needs, not ours.
Well, I met this 20-year-old kid on my flight coming back from Massachusetts this past weekend. And I said, hey, bro, it's important to be interesting, but it's even more important to be interested. Mm-hmm. I was like, and if you prove that you're interested in somebody, then you can have a conversation and they can realize the other part of the story of how interesting you are. I was like, but nobody really cares, like the old saying, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And I think that that's something that rides true with what you're saying is the community doesn't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Yep. So if you can bridge that gap into like the give, love, serve, component of chiropractic, then you can go in there and learn how to do business properly. And I think that so many times, even when somebody called me up today and they're like, well, how can I like implement and go out there and get new patients? I'm like, well, you have to put 20 events on your book every month, and you'll see how quickly you don't need more new patients. So right. When you said, hey, I have double digit talks this past month in November, how many opportunities do you need to go out there and to grow your business? And that's the part I had to put out to her as well. It's like, hey, a chiropractic office is a small business, and you have to make strategic moves in order to grow your small business. And if you go out there and you get one big event per quarter doing what I teach people how to do, then you're going to grow your business. But if you want to be sustainable, you have to use Ashley's system, and you have to go out there and get talks. So where you're building yourself up with different lines of communication in your community to actually do the things the right way, to where you're not one dimensional. And that if you had 20 events on your books, you're going to have to hire somebody to be your community outreach coordinator. You're not going to be able to withstand that as a one doc doing all that intake.
Right. That's the truth, man. And I think the word proactive too needs to be mentioned, like in your marketing efforts. Like too many chiropractors are reactive, as you know, I'm sure, in their marketing efforts. Like, oh my gosh, I need new patients. The plane's almost ready to crash already. Whereas if you have multiple streams, Jim comes out for an event, you did a dinner talk, you're speaking at a workshop, you've got some Facebook ads going, your Google ads are rolling, like you have the full spectrum. There's patients coming from everywhere. And then I didn't even mention referrals. Like, mm-hmm. That's where the referrals have to come from people. So you get people in the door who are going to refer. So the more fresh people you get and new blood creates more referrals. So it's a cycle, as everybody knows, but we just can no longer be reactive. Like you said, be a business person, look at your small business and look at your plan to grow it, and have multiple streams.
Well, here's the other part of that is you should get 1/3 from referrals. You should get 1/3 from external marketing. You should get 1/3 from digital setups. So whatever that looks like. So you should always be like 3-dimensional when you're thinking about where your new ones are coming from. So what you're offering people is to a solution for 1/3 of their equation for the whole. So I think when people do what you do, they can obviously use that as the whole deal. But they should also be cognizant to know that business is built with relationships. It's built with understanding the digital platforms, but it's also built with already people that know, like, and trust you to send in their friends and family. And I think when people start to realize that those are the channels of influence and growth, then they're like, wow, I took the Go Get Talks program and I blew it up. I learned how to run proper traffic through digital marketing and I blew it up. And then I learned how to ask for referrals, and holy cow, my business is thriving. It's the best year I've ever had. And I've been practiced for how long? 26 years. So you can see, like, even the person that's a neophyte that comes out of the chute, that's like first year out of the out of chiropractic school, to somebody that's been practicing for 3 decades. They all need to follow this system.
Amen, man. And if you look at that third concept, there's 1/3 out of those. Well, there's 2/3 of that don't involve as much cost either, right? Because when we go digital, which I do, I have a huge digital platform and presence. You've got ad spend, you've got creative, you've got all this stuff, right? So that's a lot more. That's a higher cost of acquisition. Effective, yes, but still higher cost. When you look at talks inside that third, how much is a lunch order for 12 people? It costs me $75 at Jersey Mike's. Awesome. So it was a $75 opportunity. And some of these, the big teacher ops, like that one I mentioned, Seth did, you're not bringing lunch. You just show up for free. Like, think about that for a minute. Like, cost of acquisition, $0. I got 20 new patients for an hour of my time. That's also something to consider. So you get that balance, though, like Jim said, you got to have it all, in my opinion. You got to have all those streams, no doubt.
But the big thing there that you didn't say is that so much is to do with certainty and positioning and timing. Mm-hmm. And when you say you can go out there with an hour of your time and harvest your community at a high rate, that is more effective than what I do. Is I'll go out there for 2 straight days working from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m, 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. And I'll obviously get a good, return on the people that I schedule in. But what happens now is you can go out there and maybe hit the same amount of effort, or not effort, but the same amount of return with 1 hour's time.
Right.
And then it's all about positioning and credibility with the message. And that's what I think you guys do a really good job at, is teaching people position and credibility within that message, which then turns into new ones with a limited amount of time, rather than elongating your time or you're blowing your budget out on digital ads.
Right. Exactly. So we're on the same page totally, because everything Jim has mentioned, my clinics, my partners, we do. So we do, of course, we do referrals in our clinics. Of course, we go out and do events and screening opportunities. We don't have as many huge, big events like the Alaska State Fair or anything in my town. But, there's obviously events and ops. But then when we talk about dinners, a dinner's a next best talk, in my opinion, because you've got a captive audience. Now, you had to push that, and you had to advertise that, and you had to fill that. So it's a little bit different spin. But I like the one where you just show up as the guest of honor and you just crush it for free for an hour. I'll take those all day long, even if it goes bad, it's good. Because it didn't cost you anything.
Well, I know we're coming up on our edge of time together today. Is there anything that we didn't discuss that you'd like to share with our audience today?
I guess the only thing I'd just say, start looking at your practice as a business if you're not. And if you are, examine it. Look at your marketing. How's your effectiveness? That's the thing I think we fall into nowadays, is just spend. It's just throwing money at it. Okay, how much did I spend, and what was the outcome for that seed money, right? Whether that was digital, whether it was a talk, a dinner talk, screening opportunity, whatever that is, and really analyze what it's costing you to acquire a new patient, and figure out where are you strong, where are you weak in that, right? Where can we apply some things, and set goals related to that approach, as opposed to just keep throwing money out. Just be effective. That's it.
Yeah. Well, February 28th, 29th at O'Hare, just outside of Chicago, you're holding your next Go Get Talks event. If you guys are on all the way to the end of this, click the link above and show Ashley some love and learn how to grow your business. I think a lot of times people don't look at an investment to go do an event like yours as a business growing opportunity, but I don't look at it any other way. Yeah. And I think that when people invest in themselves, as Warren Buffett would say, a billionaire, that's the number one thing I ever remember that man saying: invest in yourself. And if you have the education and you don't have the line of waiting list practice type mentality, then you have to go out there and find those people in your community. They're all around you. You just have to go out there and find them. And I think that that's something that you teach people how to do and position themselves with credibility. So click the link above. Go out there and take the opportunity to learn from somebody that's been in the game for 2 decades, and he has a team of people that are going to teach you how to become the resource in your community and get these easy talks. But it's not so easy to get there, but learn the system to make it look easy. So Ashley, thank you for supporting Chiro Hustle. Thank you for being on with me today. If you guys are watching us on replay, hashtag replay in the comments. If you guys found some value in this conversation today, hashtag value into the comments there. And if you do us one big favor and hit that share button, that will get this message out to your network and your community, and they can learn how to go out there and get more talks. So Ashley, have a wonderful holiday season, and Happy New Year, and awesome Christmas.
You too, Jim. I appreciate the time, man.
All right. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right, man. Go get talks.
Right. You guys are just one story away. Go get some talks.
Thank you for listening to Chiro Hustle Live. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.